Hey, this is Kevin Young, and today we're going to show you how to set up VS Code for your computer. Now, I have a Mac and I also have this Windows that you see here. I'm not going to show you how to install the Mac because it's very similar to the Windows, and I already have it installed on my Mac, so it would be kind of weird to try to reinstall it. So I'm going to go ahead and do it here on the Windows, and I'm already up at Google, as you can see, and I'm just going to type in Visual Studio Code. In fact, there, I'll select it. And the first result, code.visualstudio.com, is the one. Now, if you were doing this from a Mac, it would say download for Mac. I'm going to go ahead and download this, and I'll run it. Here we go. And this is a typical install for Windows, and the one for Mac is typical for it as well. You just kind of proceed by clicking Next. I'm not going to create a desktop icon for me. You may want to do that, but here is something that I think you should do. You should add the open with code here, here, and register the code as an editor. All four of these should be checked. Okay, so I'm going to start it. Notice it will launch Visual Code as soon as I click Finish. Okay, so first time you get into Visual Studio Code, you'll see a help screen that looks like this. A lot of stuff is coming at us. Now don't freak out about that. It just tells us that we need to install a couple other things to be happy. And the first one that we'll want to install is Git. And it says that. It says Git's not found. Could you please install it? So we'll go ahead and click that. So from the Git page, we want to click this download link here. And I'm going to run that. And once again, the installer is just we're just going to go through all the standard things. You could choose to have an icon on the desktop if you want. You could use a true type font in all console windows if you decide that that's something that you want. You could check daily for updates. I think I will do those too. Oh, now it's asking me what editor do I want to use as the default editor when I'm doing Git. Now for me, I want to use Visual Studio Code, so I'm going to select that. When I want to use Git from a command line, do I want to use it from Git Bash only, Windows command prompt, or use Git and optional Unix tools from Windows command prompt? I think I'm just going to use the default. And I'm going to use the default here too. And I'm also going to continue to use the default for a lot of these things as well. Notice here that I've just changed to open up Git's bash, and I don't really care to see the release notes. And there it is. So I'm just going to exit it right now. That tells me Git's installed. Okay. So going back to VS Code, Git is now installed. You could choose to share your usage data. I'm not going to here. Now, so with Visual Studio Code, there are some add-ons that we use for developing Vue.js. And to get those, or I guess Visual Studio Code calls them extensions, not add-ons, it's this square that you see right here that you click inside of Visual Studio Code. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of recommended extensions that you could install. And Visual Studio Code with these extensions can be modified or extended to do amazing things. But what I'm really looking for is a bunch of tools or extensions that will help me build my Vue apps with more ease, efficiency, and also that will check to make sure that I'm doing things in a really well coded way. So I'm going to go into this search box and type Vue extension pack. And there's actually two Vue extension packs that are really good. First of all, Sarah Drasner is a big name in the Vue community. She's one of the core contributors to the entire Vue project. So her extension pack, if I click on it, you'll see a little bit about it. It comes with several really good tools that I can add to my Visual Studio Code editor. So I definitely want this. So I'm going to go ahead and install. I'm going to click on the green install button to get it. And so it's going to ensure that all those tools, in fact, you can see down here, one of them's installing. Now, there's another extension pack that I really like, and it's this one by Mohammed Raza here. So he has a lot of the same tools. Like if you look in Sarah's, we have Vtur and Vue snippets. Well, if we click on his, on Mohammed's that is, he also includes Vtur, but you don't see Vue snippets, for instance. But he has a couple cool tools like auto rename tag, auto close tag, npm IntelliSense, some of these things that I think make developing in Vue a pleasure in this program. So I'm also going to install his pack. Now you might be thinking, if I install this one and it's calling for Vtur, and I install Sarah's and it's calling for Vtur, what's going to happen? Well, it's just going to make sure Vtur is installed. There's not going to be like two of it installed or anything weird like that going on. So let me go ahead and install this one as well. Now my computer is becoming quite busy installing. I can actually hear my fan on the back of my computer speeding up. But now you see that instead of saying install, the buttons now say reload. And if I were to continue to scroll through the entire selection, everything should say reload. The reason why that is that they're all installed, and now VS Code says, listen, I know that these extensions are available, but you can't use them until you restart the program. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll just, any one of these reload buttons will work. I'll just click one. Okay, so now under the enabled category, I can just get rid of or put the recommended down here. You can see all the actual extensions that we've just installed by picking those two packs. Now, this next thing I'm going to show you is more of a personal preferences thing, and you could choose to completely ignore it if you wish. But this particular color scheme and style or look that Visual Studio Code has, it's a nice one, but it's not my cup of tea. So I like to use a theme called Material Theme. A lot of people use this. And it's available for multiple code editors. Like I use Sublime Text sometimes, and it's available for it as well. So, and this is it. It's right here, Material Theme. It's by Mattia Astorino. So I'm just going to go right ahead and install that too. And like I said, this is an optional thing. You don't have to do it. As you can see, it comes in 5 different color schemes, and it looks good no matter which scheme you pick, I think. So okay, I'm going to reload now since it's installed. Okay, so I just reloaded and nothing looks different. And the reason why that is is that you actually have to tell Visual Studio Code that you want to use your color theme by going to Preferences. So I'm going to Preferences and I'm going to pick Color Theme. That's File, Preferences, Color Theme. And right now I'm using the default dark theme that comes from Visual Studio out of the box. I would like to use this one, Material Theme. And you'll notice that the program is making some adjustments. Let me just kind of walk you through what all it's done. So first of all, it's using a darker but not completely dark blue background, which I think is a little easier on my eyes. The lines that separate the windows, you don't see them. Like there should be a line right here, and there should be one coming down this way, and those are now gone. Now, maybe for a person who's completely new to Visual Studio Code, that might be confusing, but if you use it a lot, you'll like the fact that things are not in boxes. One of the things that you can do with Visual Studio Code is you can toggle any of these options on the side on and off, and this is like a side menu. So if I go here, this one allows me to see all the files involved in the project I'm working on. And if I click on it a second time, it just goes away. So this is pretty much a more cleaner look, I think. And when you start seeing me edit on some of my other videos, edit actual code, you may like this look. Another thing that I'll double check under preferences is that my file icon theme is material theme icons. And it is, so we're good. Now we have Visual Studio Code ready to go for our Vue development projects.